What up, guys? Your boy Quake, and William Roberts, aka Rick Ross, has decided to mention 50 Cent, G-Unit, and Uncle Murda in a recent interview he's done with Joe and Jadakiss's podcast. He's on a promo run right now to promote his upcoming album and his tour and his book. So while he's doing these tours, he's mentioning people's names like Drake and disrespecting 50 in hopes that more people will pay attention to him and report on him like I'm doing right now. So he did that on Joe and Jadakiss's podcast, and he actually threatened 50. So check out the clip.
I like what you said about the whack rappers that might get out of line and shit. Just imagine if I had the chance to slap 50 Cent with this shit right here.
Come on, man.
Yo,
This is a family show, Ross.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. Just imagine that. That's a blessing.
I ran out of flag.
We just talked about. No. You just mentioned it.
No, I'm not talking about him.
No, you was.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah. I caught that.
No,
the whack rappers running around.
Sorry for
and then you get the
I had nothing
with
to
the
do
$1 million
with that.
backhand. You feel me?
No, I didn't say that.
You was
But
talking
listen,
about 50 Cent, the whack nigga
man,
that
I'm not
gets
even
smacked
thinking
down.
about him. I was talking about a time when.
No, I caught that. I caught that alley hoop.
Yo, Ross, stop.
I'm a Wimbayaya. I'm giving Joe Crack what Joe Crack asked for. The whack rappers, the 50 Cent.
I never
You
said
threw me the
50
alley
Cent.
hoop on 50. Come get it, 50.
I don't have to, but I'll be clear. I definitely wasn't thinking about 50 Cent. I was thinking about some old school rappers. I don't want to say who. Some friends of mine that back in the day, they had the game in the chokehold and then
And they flopped.
Man, they
G
invited me
Unit.
to the sit. No.
It was G-Unit. It was the with the dark cheek. What's that name? Uncle Murda. That cheek's way darker than his forehead. He need that rewind skin cream.
After this, Uncle Murda responded on Instagram, and he posted a classic Breakfast Club interview of DMX clowning Rick Ross, basically saying that Ross makes not great music and all he raps about is food and his Maybach and stuff like that. I can't really play the clip because it's copyrighted, but this is what Uncle Murda had to say in the caption. He said in the caption, heard Officer Ricky, a.k.a. Rich Forever, was talking ish on Joe and Jada, LOL. Yeah, we got the word bozo. You see how RIP DMX feels about you. We feel the same way. And then he tagged the Real Report Show and the volume. As I was recording this, 50 Cent decided to respond to Rick Ross, and he did it by promoting his Raising Kanan Stars TV show. And in the caption, he said, "This is slap right here. Oh, man, what they going to say about this? LOL. Raising Kanan, June 12th. Boom." So he just responded by promoting his own stuff, just like how Rick Ross is promoting his own stuff. I want to talk about the facts of this situation, and I'm going to break down some numbers for you guys, and then I'm going to let you guys kind of decide of who's really desperate in their careers at this moment. Ross right now is on tour basically promoting his book, his Port of Miami 20th anniversary tour for his debut album, and his upcoming album Set in Stone. So I just plugged in all those three things for him because he needs the promo, because none of those are doing well for him, unfortunately. But he's out here promoting it. So every time he goes out and promotes, he mentions either Drake or he mentions 50. Now, Drake recently dissed him in the Iceman album. So now after the diss, it makes sense to mention Drake because, you know, hey, Drake mentioned you. You have a right to respond, right? No problem with that. With 50, 50 hasn't mentioned this guy on his Instagram in probably 2 to 3 years. So it's been a long time since 50 has actually addressed Rick Ross directly. And shout out to 50 for ignoring this guy, because this guy literally, the only time he's been in headlines is mentioning 50 or Drake. You know, there's a while ago where he mentioned he wanted to buy G-Unit's catalog. 50 never addressed it, didn't care, could care less. Because this guy hasn't been relevant in ages on his own. And I'm going to break down the numbers for you. And 50 called this out back in 2015 when he did an interview with Tim Westwood. I don't think I can play much of the clip. I will try to, but it's copyrighted. But in that clip, 50 basically says it's desperation at this point of him mentioning you, because as time goes on, you'll see who actually wins the war and who's actually still relevant in the culture. And it's clear as day 50 is still relevant. Whatever he says on his Instagram catches headlines immediately. Just recently with the Diddy documentary, it skyrocketed. It was all over the place. Everybody was talking about it. When was the last time that Ross himself, with whatever he's done, has made headlines? It's usually always mentioning Drake or 50.
What about you and Rick Ross?
That is desperation at the points that you hear things from him at this point.
And Ross needs to do this in order to sell whatever he's trying to push, because what he's trying to push isn't selling. He hasn't had any relevant thing in years, whether it's music, whether it's TV, whether it's business, whatever. He hasn't had anything relevant in years. You can both say musically they fell off because Ross hasn't had anything relevant in ages. Same with 50. The last 50 Cent album was 2014. Ross has at least been releasing more music, but the music hasn't been hitting. Nobody has really cared. And rightfully so. Both these guys are past their prime. I don't expect them to have hit records at this moment in their career. They've had their run, so on and so forth. But the proof is in the pudding when you see they have tours for their debut albums. Get Rich or Die Trying has his 20th anniversary tour in 2023. 50 sells out damn near every single city, makes about $105 or $108 million, sells out in 103 cities across America and the world. Successful tour. It was in the top 3 of the best-selling hip-hop tours of all time. Now I believe it's like at number 6 or number 5 because Travis Scott and all these other artists had their tours and they kind of bumped 50 down. But that's a huge, successful tour. It made about $108 million, basically $1 million a show. Did great. Ross announces his Port of Miami for his debut album, his 20th anniversary tour. He announces like 15 to 20 dates only in America, not across the world. And he says it's an orchestra type event. And I'm going to break down why he pushed it as an orchestra type event, because if he did it the normal way, he wouldn't be able to sell out the stadiums that are there or the arenas. He wouldn't, because when we look at the numbers, you'll see this guy is struggling to sell in his own area in Miami. And we'll break down the numbers. So when 50 did his tour Final Lap, he did America, every city almost in America, and he did 2 shows in Florida. He did one in Tampa and one in West Palm Beach. And here are the numbers. This is from touring data, straight numbers, because the tour has been over for a long time. It's been 3 years since the tour. And on August 19, 2023, he performed in Tampa. He sold out 92.73% of tickets, so almost 100% of tickets. 14,430 tickets, made $879,000 that night in Florida. Then he did another show in West Palm Beach, literally the day after, so really, really close to each other, and sold out 85.11% of tickets, 11,873 tickets, with almost $796,000 made, almost $800,000 made. So that's the statistics of when he goes to Florida, how much he sells. He almost sold out, 85% to 92%. Now let's look at Ross. Ross announced his tour, and we're going straight to Miami, where he reps, where he's from. That's his hometown. Port of Miami, all that. He's always rep Miami, right? He is performing at the James L. Knight Center in Miami, Florida. And this center has a capacity of 4,605 people. With that capacity, if you look on Ticketmaster, you can see there's only one area section that is actually sold out, because all the blue that you see is areas that are still available with tickets to sell, and they haven't really sold much. So there's a lot of blue areas here. There's only one gray and a few light blue areas. And this is a place with a capacity of 4,600 people. Meanwhile, 50 damn near sold out 15,000 capacity area. So this is the levels that we're talking about here. If you're struggling to sell out in your own area, 50 sold out in New York immediately. It was no problem. He actually had to add a date because of how quickly he was just selling tickets in his own area. Right? You would think in your own area, you got strong fan base and you can sell out tickets, no problem. He is struggling to sell out. And this tour, this show starts in about a week, and he sold about 40% of it. You can't even fill out a place with 4,600 capacity. Imagine if he promoted this as an actual arena or stadium or whatever. He would have to cancel it because he would only have 1,000, maybe 2,000 ticket sales in a place that fills up 15,000 people. You would have to cancel it at that point because you're not making your money back. It would be a huge, huge flop. So that's why he's pushing this tour as an orchestra event, because those orchestra event places, they have a lower capacity. Less people can fit in there, 4,000, maybe 5,000 people. Versus if he promoted it as an actual arena tour, which would be 15,000, maybe 20,000 people, he would struggle to sell it out. Because if he can't sell out in his own place in Miami, then imagine all across America. He would struggle, and he's been struggling. If you go to these other dates, they're all struggling to sell. And this is my point and why he brings up 50 and why he brings up G-Unit and why he brings up Drake. Because standing on his own, this guy can't do anything. Nobody really cares. The interest isn't there. I see people online brag about his catalog and say they love it and his catalog is better than Drake's and it's better than 50's. If that's the case, why aren't people showing up to buy tickets to see this guy live perform his music? Why? If you guys love his catalog so much and you guys think his catalog is that much better, then show up to his shows, buy the tickets. But you guys don't care. It's all it is online talk, internet. At the end of the day, I'm here to talk about numbers, the facts. And these are the facts of the situation. This guy can't sell out nothing. He's struggling to sell out. But that's the proof in the pudding. I just wanted to talk about it just to show you guys that I'm not just talking out of my ass and just saying whatever. I'm proving it. You guys can look this up yourself. And the funniest part about this is Ross mentioning he's going to slap 50 when Ross has been manhandled by various people, including 50 Cent and G-Unit, and he's done nothing about it. So let's go over this. This is actually a tweet from this guy. Shout out to him. I can't even pronounce Omar Wale 999, a bunch of numbers. But shout out to him. He said this. Rick Ross is an on-wax tough guy. He's lost every physical encounter he's ever had. Trick Daddy and his crew chased him off the stage and beat his manager at Miami Nights. Jeezy and his crew beat him up and snatched his fake chain at the 2012 BET Awards. 50 Cent and his crew beat up his goon Gunplay at the same 2012 BET Awards. They got the MMG chain and went on a greasy neck tour. Nobody ever found it after that. Who knows where it went? Never got it back, Ross. Drake and his meth head white boys beat Ross and his crew up in Canada. And Ross has done nothing about any of those instances. He's always been punked when it came to being checked in person when it comes to all these rappers that he's had issues with. And that's the reality of the situation. So mentioning you're going to slap somebody when you run into these people in person and you don't do anything and you get punked by all of them, at the end of the day, you speak about doing all this stuff to these people, but in person, when you run into them, you get punked in the whole situation. That's the reality of it. But that's what Rick Ross is, a correctional officer cosplaying as this gangster rapper who stole someone's whole identity. As the time has gone on, Rick Ross's career has dwindled. The whole stolen identity and this persona that he's built hasn't lasted. People aren't really checking for him like that. And I bet you this next album isn't going to do anything. I mean, nobody's going to care. Maybe he'll have a diss record towards Drake, and maybe he'll have Kendrick Lamar featured on there. I wouldn't be surprised. And that's the only way he's going to get any type of momentum. But if you look at his catalog of music, people aren't listening to his music like that compared to 50's or Drake's. That's just the reality situation. Now, you can make your argument about whose catalog you prefer. I don't care. At the end of the day, that's your opinion. I'm going with what the world prefers, not just what one person's opinion prefers. So that's my breakdown. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.